If you didn't watch the first time the Beverly Hillbillies was on TV, you missed one of the best funny shows ever made. The show had a great story about country people living in a fancy city and amazing characters like Jed, Granny, and Ellie Mae. The show became super popular and was on TV for 9 whole years. But even though we still laugh at the show today, the actors who played these characters have sadly died over the years. Some died peacefully, others fought sickness for a long time. In this video, we look back at how each loved Beverly Hillbillies actor died and remember the good lives they lived when they weren't on TV. Buddy Ebsen's story of becoming America's favorite TV dad started way before he found oil on his land. This talented guy started his job by dancing on Broadway stages in the 1930s, spinning and tap dancing with so much energy that Hollywood noticed him. His early movie work put him with some of the biggest stars back then, making magical movie moments with stars like Shirley Temple and Judy Garland. What many fans don't know is that Ebsen almost became part of one of the greatest movies ever in a totally different way. He was first picked to play the Scarecrow in The Wizard of Oz, but he ended up switching jobs with Ray Bulier to become the Tin Man instead. But luck had other plans when the metal powder used in his shiny makeup made him really sick, making him leave the movie completely. This problem, even though it was disappointing back then, would later lead him down a road that made millions of TV watchers happy. When World War II started, Ebsen joined by serving his country in the U.S. Coast Guard, stopping his entertainment job to do his duty as an American. After coming back from the war, he jumped back into acting with new energy, taking on different movie and TV jobs during the 1950s and early 1960s. One really memorable show came in Breakfast at Tiffany's where he played Doc Golightly, creating a touching acting job of Audrey Hepburn's character's separated husband that showed how good he was at serious acting. The job that would make Ebsen famous came in 1962 when the Beverly Hillbillies started on CBS. As Jed Clampett, the surprise oil millionaire who moved his family from the Ozark Mountains to Beverly Hills, Ebsen played a character who stayed humble and nice even though he got really rich. His way of playing the family dad was marked by gentle humor, country wisdom, and strong good values that made Jed the heart of the show. For 9 successful years, people watched him deal with the clash between simple country ways and fancy city life, always keeping his respect and good nature. After the Beverly Hillbillies ended its amazing run, Ebsen didn't slow down. He took on different guest spots in popular shows like Gunsmoke, Hawaii 5, and Bonanza, proving he was good at playing many different characters. His next big job came as the main character in Barnaby Jones, where he played a country private detective who solved crimes with country smarts and never giving up. This show ran for 7 years from 1973 to 1980, giving Ebsen another successful TV show and proving that people couldn't get enough of his special kind of down-home wisdom. Besides his acting job, Ebsen was also a man of many talents and interests. He wrote 4 books during his life, sharing his thoughts and experiences with readers who wanted to know more about the man behind their favorite characters. Music was another hobby, and he recorded 3 albums that showed yet another side of his artistic abilities. His personal life had 3 marriages and 7 children, creating a big family that brought him great joy throughout his life. When Ebsen died in July 2003 at the amazing age of 95, he left behind a legacy of entertainment that had touched many generations. His death came from breathing problems. A peaceful end to a life that had been filled with creativity, service, and the kind of real warmth that made his characters so loved. Born in 1902, Ryan's path to TV stardom was anything but normal, going through decades of vaudeville stages, radio shows, and Hollywood movies before she found her perfect character in the grumpy but lovable Daisy Mae Moses. Ryan's job started in the roaring 1920s when she teamed up with her first husband, Tim Ryan, to create a comedy team that entertained people across the country. Their chemistry on stage was amazing, and they successfully moved into radio and movie work during the 1930s. Even after their marriage ended in 1942, they kept working together professionally, appearing in a bunch of movies throughout the 1940s that showed their funny timing and friendship. During the war years and after, Ryan kept getting better at her craft, touring with comedy legend Bob Hope and learning from one of the masters of entertainment. These experiences taught her the art of perfect timing and how to deliver a funny line that would leave audiences wanting more. Her second marriage to Harold Knox in 1946 lasted 15 years. But like many performers of her time, she found that the demands of show business could hurt personal relationships. TV called in the 1950s and Ryan made her small screen start on The Danny Thomas Show in 1955. Throughout the late 50s and early 60s, she appeared in different shows, building a reputation as a reliable character actor who could bring depth and humor to any job. Little did she know that her biggest break was still ahead of her. When the Beverly Hillbillies began looking for actors in 1962, Ryan was already 60 years old, an age when many actresses found opportunities becoming rare. However, her audition for the job of Granny was so memorable and perfect that there was no question she was meant to play the Clampett family grandmother. As Granny, Ryan created a character who was fierce, opinionated, and totally hilarious, delivering her lines with a combination of country wisdom and stubborn determination that made her unforgettable. After the Beverly Hillbillies finished its successful run, Ryan proved that she was far from ready to quit. At the age of 70, she took on one of her most challenging jobs, playing Berta in the original Broadway show of Pippin in 1972. Working under the direction of the legendary Bob F.S.Y., she brought her decades of experience to the musical stage, earning a Tony Award nomination for Best Supporting or Featured Actress in a Musical in 1973. Sadly, Ryan was unable to go to the Tony Award ceremony that March. During a show of Pippin earlier that month, she had a stroke that would end her remarkable career. Before that, she had reportedly been struck with a brain tumor that couldn't be operated on. The woman who had brought so much laughter and joy to audiences for decades died the following month at the age of 70, leaving behind a legacy of performances that continue to entertain new generations of viewers. Donna Douglas brought an innocent sweetness and stunning looks to the job of the oldest Clampett daughter, creating a character who was both gorgeous and adorably naive about the fancy world she found herself in. Douglas's path to becoming Ellie Mae began with modeling work that opened doors to small TV appearances on shows like The Perry Co. Show and The Steve Allen Show. Her striking beauty and natural screen presence led to movie jobs in the late 1950s and early 1960s, including appearances in Korea alongside Dean Martin and Shirley Mlan and Love a Comeback with Rock Hudson and Doris Day. These early jobs showed her ability to hold her own alongside some of Hollywood's biggest stars. One of Douglas's most memorable early TV appearances came in a classic episode of The Twilight Zone called Eye of the Beholder in 1960. In this scary tale, she played a woman considered ugly by the standards of her society, though viewers could see she was traditionally beautiful. The twist, of course, was that everyone else in her world had pig-like features, making her the outsider for looking normal by our standards. When the Beverly Hillbillies started in 1962, Douglas's way of playing Ellie Mae Clampett became an instant hit with audiences. Her character was a unique mix of stunning beauty and tomboy spirit, equally comfortable wrestling with wild animals or looking glamorous in the latest fashions. Ellie Mae's innocent enthusiasm for life and her genuine kindness toward all creatures made her a beloved figure who represented the best of both worlds, natural beauty and an unspoiled heart. During the show's 9-year run, Douglas had the chance to work with one of her idols when she starred opposite Elvis Presley in the 1966 movie Frankie and Johnny. This was her only leading job in a major movie, and the experience of working with the king of rock and roll was a career highlight that she treasured for the rest of her life. The movie showed a different side of her acting abilities and proved that she could carry a movie as the female lead. In 1971, the same year the Beverly Hillbillies ended its successful run, Douglas married the show's director, Robert Lee. This marriage seemed to promise new creative work together, but the changing TV landscape of the 1970s meant fewer opportunities for the type of wholesome family entertainment that had made Douglas famous. She briefly worked as a real estate agent, using her people skills in a completely different field while thinking about her next career moves. Throughout the 1970s, Douglas made occasional TV appearances on shows like Night Gallery and Macmillan and Wife. Though these jobs were quite different from the innocent Ellie Mae that had made her famous. When Douglas died from pancreatic cancer on January 1, 2015 at the age of 82, she left behind memories of a woman who had used her beauty and talent to bring joy to millions while never losing sight of her values and faith. Her death marked the end of an era for fans who had grown up watching her adventures in Beverly Hills. On the Beverly Hillbillies, Melbourne Dead Ale was always in a rush to protect the Clampett's money, mostly because it was in his bank. His nervous energy, fake politeness, and tendency to panic whenever the family did something too hillbilly for Beverly Hills made him one of the funniest parts of the show. But Raymond's real-life journey to this job was anything but quick. In his younger years, Bailey tried to get into acting, but found doors closing on him more often than not. The rejection was discouraging, so he packed his bags and worked his way through a bunch of odd jobs. He became a merchant seaman, traveling the world, seeing new cultures and living a life far removed from Hollywood movie sets. This time away from acting didn't stop him from dreaming, though. It just made the eventual success all the sweeter. By the 1950s, he decided to give acting another serious try. And this time, things began to click. He landed small but steady jobs in both movie and TV, enough to get his face recognized by casting directors. He even scored a part in Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, which gave him some well-deserved credibility in the industry. He made appearances on popular TV shows of the time, Gunsmoke, The Twilight Zone, and Alfred Hitchcock Presents, slowly building a career brick by brick. Then in 1962, Bailey's life took a dramatic turn when he was cast as Milbourne Dale. The character was everything Bailey knew how to play. High-strung, money-focused, and constantly on edge. Audiences loved watching him scramble to keep the Clampett's fortune in his bank, all while trying to maintain a picture-perfect Beverly Hills image. The job made him a household name and cemented his place in TV history. Sadly, toward the end of the show's 9-year run, Bailey began showing early signs of Alzheimer's disease. Even so, he kept working for a few more years, appearing in movies like Disney's Herbie Rides Again and The Strongest Man in the World. His health, however, gradually forced him into retirement. On April 15, 1980, Raymond Bailey died from a heart attack at the age of 75. His road to success had been long, but he left behind the legacy of a character that fans still remember with a smile. But Miss Jane wasn't just a background secretary to Mr. Dale. She was the brains that kept the bank running smoothly, even if she had to roll her eyes at her boss's antics. NY's performance was sharp and witty, and it added a lot of charm to the show. Nancy Culp's life before Hollywood was just as fascinating as her on-screen career. She was born in Pennsylvania and went to college, eventually earning a degree in journalism. Her early professional life was spent as a reporter. But when World War II broke out, she decided to serve her country by joining the U.S. Naval Reserve. She worked in public relations and was praised for her intelligence and dedication. When the war ended, Nancy moved to Hollywood to work in MGM's publicity department, promoting other stars. But people kept telling her she had the kind of presence that belonged in front of the camera, not behind it. Eventually, she took their advice and began auditioning. Her sharp features, tall frame, and dry delivery made her stand out, leading to small jobs in movies like Sabrina and A Star is Born. TV soon followed, and Nancy became a familiar face in guest jobs on I Love Lucy, Perry Mason, and The Twilight Zone. Her big break came in 1962 when she was cast in the Beverly Hillbillies. As Miss Jane Hathaway, she played the perfect opposite to Mr. Dale's bumbling, greed-efficient, level-headed, and secretly fond of Jethro, much to the amusement of viewers. The job earned her an Emmy nomination and a loyal fan base that still talks about her to this day. NY's life after the Beverly Hillbillies took an interesting turn. She continued to act on TV and stage, but in the 1980s, she decided to enter politics. She ran for a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives. But the campaign stirred up old tensions with her co-star Buddy Epson, who publicly supported her opponent. The race didn't go her way, but Nancy wasn't the type to dwell on losses. She moved into teaching, passing on her acting knowledge to students at Juniata College in Pennsylvania. In 1991, Nancy Culp died from cancer at the age of 69. She left behind a career filled with variety journalism, military service, acting, politics, and education, and a TV character who still brings laughs decades later. Jethro was a simple soul, always dreaming big, but rarely thinking things through. Whether he was bragging about his 6th-grade education or coming up with wild get-rich-quick schemes, Jethro was a character fans couldn't get enough of. And Bear's comedic timing made it all work. Max Baer Jr. was born into fame as the son of Max Baer, the heavyweight boxing champion. Despite this, he didn't immediately set his sights on acting. He went to college and earned a business degree. But soon after graduation, he began exploring the entertainment industry. His first acting jobs came in the early 1960s with guest appearances on shows like Maverick and Hawaiian Eye. When the Beverly Hillbillies came calling in 1962, Baer took on the job of Jethro, a part that would define his career. Over 9 seasons, he embraced the character's clueless enthusiasm, even dressing in drag to play Jethro's twin sister, Jethrin, in several episodes. The job made him a TV star, but it also proved tricky for his later career. Casting directors struggled to see him as anyone other than Jethro. Rather than fight against typecasting, Baer turned to producing, writing, and directing movies. His work behind the camera included Ode to Billy Joe, a movie adaptation of the hit song, which became a box office success. He also directed The Wild McCulloch and Hometown USA in the 1970s. In the 1990s, Bear found another way to connect to the Beverly Hillbillies by licensing the characters for use on slot machines. He even planned a Beverly Hillbillies-themed hotel and casino in Nevada, complete with a restaurant called Jethro's Beverly Hills Mansion. Legal troubles, however, kept the project from becoming a reality. Now in his late 80s, Max Bear Jr. has stepped away from the spotlight, but he remains the last surviving member of the show's main cast. Fans still approach him with stories about watching the Clampetts with their families, and he continues to attend occasional public appearances related to the series. The Beverly Hillbillies may be long gone from our screens, but the laughter, charm, and unforgettable characters they gave us will always live on. Who was your favorite member of the Clampett clan?